This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team List Tuesday for our game against the Cowboys in Townsville. Strangely, today it feels like the team list is a bit of a sideshow, and the main event is all about the coach. Right now, it feels like the games, the team, and all the things a rugby league season should be about are secondary to the state of this club. We are in the midst of the worst season Dragons fans have seen since 1938. And needless to say, not many of us were around to see that season's performance. So as it sits, this is the worst year in our lifetime. All that said, there is a team, and Hasman will take us through it.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And I do have to say, this week's side is, I think, the strongest sign yet, that Hook basically knows he's gone and just no longer gives a shit. He's literally picked the same 22 that he picked last week. Tyrell Sloan's a fullback. Matt Feeney and Michaeli Ravalawa on the wings. Moses Sully and Max Feeney centre. So Zach Lomax not selected again, but apparently will be playing New South Wales Cup this week. Junior Ramon will partner Ben Hutt in the halves. Jack DeBellin and Blake Laurie up front. Moses Zambai playing hooker yet again, because that worked so incredibly well for us in that 25 minutes last week. Billy Burns and Jaden Sura in the second row, because that worked as well. Jack DeBellin locking down the scrum. And on the bench, we've got Jaden Sullivan, Michael Mollo, Ben Murdoch-Masilla, and Josh Kerr. The extended bench is Toby Couchman, Jaden Hunt, Jacob Little, Zane Musgrove, and Viliami Fafita. So not too much to get excited about there.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting when we do go into.
There, I don't think, Donnie.
There you go. You just froze on me a little bit there, but yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting when we do get into discussing our team, because it's going to be the same discussions we had last week on Tuesday. But before we do get into to talking about our team, we're going to have a chat to a Cowboys fan, or at least Big T will. So we'll get into this.
Come with me as we go behind enemy lines.
Well, g'day Dragons fans, I'm Big T, and this is Behind Enemy Lines Round 11. Before I bring our guest in, I'll run through the Cowboys team. At the back, we've got Josh Drinkwater. I'd rather drink Scotch myself. Felt and Talangi on the wings. 3 and 4, Holmes and Hiku. Tommy Dearden at 6 and Townsend at 7. Up front, you've got Jordan McLean, Reece Robinson and Big Cohen Hess. Goszewski, Lukey and Cotter locks the scrum. On the bench, we've got Granville, Dunn, Tanua Brown. That's another good one for me. Fine. Faruqi. Price is 18th man. Tony Pate, the coach. I'd like to bring in our guest now. Keith Pitt. Keith, how are you, mate?
Yep, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and have you always been a Cowboys fan?
Well, I hail from far north Queensland, a little town called Mossman, north of Cairns. Haven't always been a Cowboys fan. I started back in the Cowboys after the Super League finally folded and the game got sorted out again. Before that, I used to go for the North Sydney Bears. The old man used to play for him, so it's there. It's in
cool.
the blood. For work, I'm a public servant, mate. I work for the federal government.
Nice. Good, yeah. Your old man played for the Bears, eh?
Yep, 67, 68.
Nice.
Yeah.
They were not a bad side in the day and had a few good supporters there. Well, anyway, we'll get into the game on the weekend. I'll get into the Cowboys. A very different start for both our clubs. You guys started with 2 wins and 2 losses in the first 4, and then had 3 losses, and then win, loss, win. Well, win, loss, win. So you're due for a loss. Have the Cowboys finally turned the corner, or is there still a bit of work to do for the Cowboys?
Look, I think they've turned the corner, mate. It's just whether or not they can keep turning, and stay on that track. Definitely the game that we saw on the weekend was up there, if not better than any of the games they played last year. So, it wasn't a great start to the season. The game on the weekend, second to none. I think it was one of their best games ever. And whether we stay on that track or not, I suppose it just comes down to the boys and their attitude and staying on track.
But that's typical of teams who play the Dragons the week after. They always come to form the week before they play the Dragons. Like the Tigers come to form and beat the Panthers. Now you just come to form and beat the Roosters, Bloody hell. We're never going to get a break. Last season, the Cowboys, you went from strength to strength, week to week. You got better and better. But this year, like we're saying, a bit of an indifferent start. You lost the Hammer, you lost Lemuelu, you lost Tommy Gilbert. Do you think they were a cause of the Cowboys start to the season?
Look, it could have some impact on the game. I mean, Tom Gilbert was a big player for us coming off the bench, and every time he came off the bench, he certainly made an impact on how we played. I suppose the Hammer, he was one of those players too that if he had sufficient game time, he certainly made a difference to the outcome of the game and can turn it around on a whim. But I suppose for him, he had to make the decision that was best for himself and best for his career. He wasn't getting much game time towards the end of the season, with Drinkwater playing so well. So, it's hard to say whether him leaving was going to be an impact or not. And Lemuelu, I mean, much the same as Gilbert, I suppose. When he came off the bench, he really made an impact to our game. So, we certainly miss it. It's an opportunity for some of our younger blokes and our new players to come through and show that they deserve the spot that they've got and to really prove themselves.
Yeah, they're 3 quality players, and we take 3 quality players out of our team, and we've got 3 quality players. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's talk about this week's game. Cowboys are starting to show form. Who do the Dragons have to watch and have to stop to beat the Cowboys this weekend?
I wouldn't really single out any one person, other than probably Ruben Cotter. Ruben Cotter, Hess, Jan Finuaku, was his name, Cooley, they call him. The new guy, he's just playing fantastic. They're impact players. Ruben Cotter, he'll play 80 minutes, mate, and he plays hard and he tackles hard. But collectively, the whole team, as you would have seen in last week's game, they all just gelled well together. The defense muscled up. They were making more meters than what they used to make in previous games this year. So, I think as a team, it's probably, I wouldn't single out any one person.
Yeah, well, Ruben Cotter, mate, he's a great player. He sort of came out of nowhere last year, didn't he? Yeah,
and with a guy of his stature to go into, a run on front row.
Front row, that's right. He's not a big boy.
No, and
not by any stretch of that.
But he's got heart, mate. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's much like Jake Granville. Jake Granville will go out there and he'll give 80 minutes and he'll give 200% every game. So that's what it comes down to, and I think that's the difference in our game last week. I think that turn of attitude is the whole difference with our team right across the board.
Yeah, Jesse wants to ask you about Reece Robinson. He's an ex-Dragon boy, and he's played really, really well. What does he bring to the team? What do you think of him?
Honestly, didn't rate him, I suppose, when he first came to us. I mean, I'm a big Jake Granville fan, and I know Jake Granville gives 200%. But Reece has certainly proven himself, and he's proven himself to be a star and someone that deserves to be in that, that top 13. He's hard in defence. When he needs to take the run up the guts and get us some easy meters, he does it. I think he's one of those players that's strong, and he'll be in our team for a long time.
Yeah, he's one player that we the Dragons definitely say one that got away. We chose others over him. So anyway, has anybody else got a question for Keith?
Yeah, I do. I suppose I didn't. Haven't watched too many Cowboys games this year, so I suppose what can you tell us about this Kuli Kefu Finufuaki?
Not a lot, mate. I mean, it was his first game last weekend, and I honestly hadn't heard anything really about him. Apparently, he played in one of the trial games at the beginning of the season, but I don't honestly recall him being there or even seeing him on the field. But he's one of those guys. He's a 19-year-old. He's come through the ranks. Apparently, he's made some big inroads in the Queensland Cup for the Townsville Blackhawks, and obviously Toddy decided that he deserved an opportunity to get in there. And I think he's one of those guys that will just continue to improve every week. The minimal time he had on the field last weekend, he made an impact both in defence and offence. So, I think if we can hang on to him, he's going to be really good for us.
Yeah. Muzzer, do you have a question there as well, mate?
Yeah, just a quick one. Go, Keith. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Muzz.
Yeah, buddy. Obviously the Cowboys started off pretty slow, and I've been saying on here probably for the last 5 or 6 weeks that the Cowboys are going to really struggle this year, and it obviously looked like they were. As a true blue supporter, mate, how was that feeling sort of going through the first 5 or 6 rounds? Did you have that sort of feeling yourself, or were you confident they could bounce back like they did last week?
Mate, I think like most, a bit like Tim Sheens, at one stage he honestly didn't think that they would win the bye. And I honestly believe that, even before the last 2 games that the Tigers have turned their season around a bit, I honestly believe that the Tigers would beat us and we'd be at the bottom of the ladder. It's been heartbreaking, I suppose, to see, such a strong team that we had last year on the field doing almost everything right, to this year going out and doing next to nothing right.
Yeah, cool. I suppose the lead up to that question is, how happy are you to be playing against us this week?
Yeah, happy. I mean, based on last week's performance and the last few games for the Dragons, quietly confident. But I personally wouldn't, write off the Dragons. They can turn their game around just as easily as we can. It comes down to a change of attitude. I think Ben Hunt's got to stand up. Ben Hunt's got to get out there. I mean, he's your captain, he's your general. He's got to get out and he's got to lead the team around, mate. And your forwards got to be going forward and laying the platform for your back line.
If you guys don't win, do you think Todd Payton should be sacked immediately?
I probably thought that after the first 2 or 3 rounds, mate. But I don't know. It's probably a bit like Greeny, rest in peace. You watch the press conferences after the game, and they just kind of have this lackluster kind of an attitude, and they don't say much and they don't lead into much. I mean, personally, I know that there's a lot of bloody supporters out there that would get on and, give them a rip up and, tear them another one. But Todd knows what he's doing. I mean, that's why he's an NRL coach, mate, and I'm not. No, I'm just another one of those armchair critics that sit back on Facebook and throw my 2 bobs worth in. But I don't think he, should be fired. I think it's, he basically in his press conference the other day, he told the guys that they need to have a look at themselves and have a think about it. And that's what they've done. They've, in Gus's words, we look at the coaches that have had their careers on the line, but Gus has come out and said the coach's job stops when the players walk out the field. It's over to them. It's about their attitude. It's about how they, what they take out of the field and how they play their game. And that's I think what it's been, for the Cowboys. It's been a complete change of the attitude from number 1 to number 17.
Yeah, we've had a couple of players on the podcast. They're saying that it's man management and coaching. You've got to get the boys up. You've got to get them up to get them out on the field. And then, like you said, it's up to them. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Keith. You've been an absolute gem.
No worries.
But at this time of night, I like talking, going for a walk down memory lane. And my walk down memory lane this time is 2001. Griffin bags his first win for the Dragons. 3 minutes in, Cohen Hess swoops onto a Clifford chip kick. 6-0 Cowboys. 3 minutes, boys. What are you doing? 10 minutes later, McCulloch at dummy half, Hunt out to Kerr offload back to Hunt. Hunt, beautiful 20-metre pass out to Rava in the corner with a kick to come. Cowboys 6-4. Zach Lomax out the left wing, right side, sorry. Over the black dot, great kick, good dodge, beautiful. 6-all. 26 minutes, 20 metres out for the line. Hunt to Bird to Ramsey down the left. Now back to Burke, 30 metres out. 2 plays later, Kirk crashes over, 5 metres out. 12 Dragons, 12-6. Right at half time, Corey Norman. We all love Corey Norman. Kicks a field goal. Dragons, 13-6 at half time. Right after the break, very ineffective defence from the Dragon. Valentine Holmes dribbles the ball over, scores under the post. Dragons, 13-12. Then with 27 to go, Ramsey throws Drinkwater to the ground after a knock-on from Billy Burns. That's Donny's boy. Drinkwater jumps back up, straight into the arms, the gorilla-like arms of Matt Duffy. Penalty Dragons, Cowboys were offside. Straight after that, Hunt runs to the line, goes out. Hunt, when you run the ball, mate, you are beautiful. Dragons, 19-12. 3 minutes later, Mark Granville, not Mark, Jake, sorry. Solo try of his own, 19-18 Dragons. Cowboys are coming back. Come on, boys, you can do it. Final try of the game actually came 20 minutes out when Ben Hunt puts a beautiful chip kick right onto the try line. Zach Lomax snatches the ball out of Valentine Holmes' hand. Try Dragons. Dragons 25-18. The rest is history, man. Thanks for coming on, Keith. You've been absolutely fantastic. Back to you, Donny.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to have on a fan from the other team. Just to give us a little bit of insight, I suppose. You obviously watch them a lot closer than we do, so it's it gives us a different perspective on the team that we're playing. So thanks very much for your time.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Normally we'd move into Dragons trivia now, but Jesse's not quite ready. He's having some troubles on his end, so we have to move into talking a little bit about our team. I might go to you, Chloe, with the first question about our team. Absolutely no changes, the exact same 22. Do you think that Anthony Griffin picked the team last week, knowing that they were going to stay up in Queensland, picked a squad of 18, and no matter what happened, it was going to be exactly the same 18 players this week?
I do. Well, now that you said it, yeah, I think so. But the one thing that is annoying me is that poor Zach Lomax is like going to New South Wales Cup this week, and he doesn't even get a chance to come back up. He doesn't even get a chance to go into the team. I'm pretty feeling a bit flat with the team list this week, so I don't even know what to think anymore. Yeah, he probably knew going 2 weeks into being in Queensland. He's like, yeah, let's just keep the same team, but we lost last week, so couldn't he have thought maybe bringing some people back in? I don't know what goes on through that stupid coach's head, so I just don't know.
Yeah. Mozza, does it have a bit of a feeling like the Dragons are on they're already on Mad Monday, aren't they? they're sort of up in Queensland, they're having a bit of a boys bonding trip. You know, they're probably on the beers, that they might stop for about 20 minutes before the game and just head out there and play a bit of footy, but they don't really care about the result. Is that kind of the feeling you're getting from the club at the moment?
Well, let's hope so, because everything else they've done start of the year hasn't worked. So maybe if they get on the piss and do a bit of bonding, have a couple of dust ups, might get them a bit closer. But yeah, look, I was pretty confident that was going to be the same squad, but I can understand Zach Lomax. You know, obviously he was dropped for whatever reason. I don't think there's any point just dropping him for 1 week. He probably had to come back to reserves the way it is. Not that I wanted him to, but how he can't replace Mbai with Little is still beyond me. We've gone through it. We won't go through it again. We can go through his stats again if we want to. There you go. I just did. There was nothing. And yeah, totally buck. But yeah, I expect it to be the same. And yeah, let's hope they get on the piss and come out and play a bit better footy.
Yeah. Darlene says they might have another barbecue. Hasman, Daryl O'Rourke asks, he said a few less errors and penalties, and we are not that bad, really. Do you agree?
That's not a bad point, actually. If you have a look at the last sort of few games where we've lost by 2 and 1, we've had these issues with Jack Bird in particular giving away stupid bloody penalties that have resulted in 2 points, which has ended up being the difference in the scoreline. And so if we can just sort of reduce those sort of silly errors in our own areas and stop giving away stupid bloody penalties and giving away an easy 2 points here and there. Jack Bird, looking directly at you. I don't think we're quite that bad. Obviously, execution's been a little bit off with some stuff, but when you got players, trying shit, that's going to happen. But no, to answer the question, I don't think we're as get rid of that shit, and I don't think we're that bad.
Yeah, I disagree. I think we are that bad. I think we've played in the last 5 games. Yeah, they've been close games, and we've lost close games, and we've been competitive. But the teams we played, when we played them, were in 9th, 16th, 9th, 16th, and 17th, and we lost all of them. Like we're not playing against quality opposition. We're not playing against teams that are doing well. And I guess you could say the same heading into this game. We're up against, again, a team that's sitting in 14th. And despite their win last week, and they were pretty impressive last week, they're another pretty poor team. But we've basically taken on the bottom 3 teams that don't include us. And if we don't win here, then none from 3 against the bottom 3 teams that aren't us. Like that's... I don't know. I think that's pretty sobering in terms of how well we're going. Yeah, we might be close to these bottom teams. We might not be too far away from beating the worst teams in the comp. But I don't think that. I don't think that's good enough. I think we're a long way from being where we need to be at this stage. Although it is a close competition this year, so it's I don't know. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day, but I don't see it with us at the moment in the way that we're playing. Big T, we kind of go around and around in circles and end up at the same point. But when Hook's naming exactly the same team every week, it's kind of hard not to go over the same points. Moses Mbai starting at 9. Is it going to be the exact same tactics this weekend where we basically waste the first 25 minutes? Or is it going to be
it's something... like me? It's like me every morning, mate. I get up out of bed, go and have a shit, waste 20 minutes, reading my phone, reading the paper, whatever I read. We'll just go through the motions, mate. That's all we're doing. Waiting for Sullivan to come on, and then we kick on. They might be 18-0 ahead by then. Like, and what's the use bringing Sullivan on when we're down by that? That's like, I don't know. like we've all said, we're over talking about Hook and his ineptity. I do make up words. But yeah, I'm sick of talking about him. Let's bring somebody else in. Come on, let's go.
Well, I suppose in terms of bringing somebody else in, Chloe, I know it's exactly the same extended bench that we had last week, but are you expecting Hook to make any changes to this 17, or are you expecting it to be exactly the same as he's named?
Okay, I'm just going to be brutally honest because I'm about to rant now, but I don't know what, like Toby Couchman, right? He scored at the Bulldogs and he got dropped and now he's on like the 18th man or whatever he is. And I don't know what the hell Hook is doing. And the same with Little. Like, and I know we keep talking about it, but this is what's going on. This inept freaking coach is not doing anything. And yeah, like, what are we meant to talk about in this? They're the same team. And you know what? There's like, yeah, instead of wasting 25 freaking minutes, put the person you re-signed for 2 years and actually have a go, because, you know, we're all sick and tired of this shit. We are hardcore fans and we are trying our best here to support. So Hook, pull your freaking finger out of your butthole and start making choices, because you're going to get sacked in 2 weeks. We've got the Roosters as well, mate. So, you know what? Be a bit like Craig Bellamy. Show a bit of emotion in that fucking box of yours and actually concentrate, because get Mumbai off and put Little on and actually do something and sing.
Well, that was a hell of a performance, Chloe.
I'm just over it, Donnie. I'm just over it at the
And again, I think that's the beauty of the Mad Dragons vodcast, is that we get to get a bunch of fans together, and that they really do echo the sentiments of all the other fans out there that are watching. There's lots of people that are on there watching live at the moment, and I'm sure will tune in throughout the next few days. That'll see that rant and think, spot on. That is exactly how I feel. Like it is something that is just inside you that you've just got to get out, and it is. It's incredibly frustrating for everyone to see the way this team is being managed, the way everything is being handled. Hasman, a question from Muhammad Dib, and he wants our thoughts on the rumour of Sewer and Bird possibly wanting out. That old chestnut.
That old.
It always sounds good when how many times we're going to say that during the podcast.
No, look, I think it's a lot of bullshit, to be perfectly honest. I think it's just some idiot journo, looking for a story that's not there. Simple as that.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I think Danny Weedler has a strike rate of about 400. I think he's throwing darts and using the fact that Dragons fans at the moment, they can't see any reason why anybody would possibly want to continue playing for this club. So pick any random name and say they want out, and Dragons fans will believe it. Jack Bird has come out. He called Danny Weedler personally and said, there is no truth to this. I don't want out. Like, I don't know where you've got this information, but it's not true. Jaden Sewer is he's either just bought or in the process of buying a house in Wollongong. His missus loves a new job, so he's setting down roots. He's, from what I heard, was just about ready to sign an extension. And they're just finalising, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, so to speak. So I think that the story has zero merit. Danny Weedler's doubled down and said, well, that the players are saying they don't want to leave, but I'm telling you that they do. And I thought, okay, righto, mate.
Well, yeah. They've told her that they've basically said that they don't want to leave. So, Weidler can basically shut up and piss off.
Yeah. That's not likely to happen, but
Weidler's wormers.
Muzza, another question from Daryl Orrock. So he wants to know, if we click individually and as a team, do you think we have a top 8 roster?
Oh, absolutely. We said at the start of the year we all thought we're a top 8 chance. So the answer to that's got to be yes, I guess, on that. But it depends on what team we're talking about. Like if we're talking about the team that we want or the team that is running out there every week. The team that we're always talking about and all the fans are wanting in top form, absolutely top 6 side. But we're coached wrong, we're playing wrong, we've got the wrong attitude, and as long as we've got that wrong attitude, and I don't know, I'm lost for words. It's just embarrassing at the moment. But definitely a top 8 side, everybody involved. I think everybody will agree with that.
Yeah, I was obviously very bullish on our chances heading into this season. I think we've got a top 4 backline at our best. If you're picking the best available backline, then I think we've got a top 4 backline. I think there's a lot of strike power there. I think there's a lot of power there. Maybe lacking speed. That's certainly something that has been identified. Although I think Tyrell Sloan is reasonably slick, but we could do with a little bit more speed in the back line. But I think that's not where our issues are. I'm not 100% sold on our forward pack being a top 8 forward pack. I think certainly in terms of edge forwards, we are struggling in that area. I don't think we have a lot of depth. I think Hook has tried to force a lot of front rowers to play on the edge. I know a lot of people complain about having Billy Burns in the team, but I think 100% Billy Burns is our second best edge forward because we don't have any other edge forwards. I know some people like Jack Bird on the edge. I really don't. So yeah, and in terms of our front rowers, I think we really lack an enforcer. Overall, I think we're probably an edge of the top 8 sort of squad. But I'd really love to see us strengthen that forward pack. Hasman, you got something to add there?
Yeah, mate. So we may have a top 4 backline, but I think we got a bottom 4 forward pack. I think that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is, we definitely got a top 8 squad, but the problem is we got a bottom 3 coach.
Might be a bottom 1 there, coach, mate. Yeah, no, it's it is definitely concerning. Big T. Toby Couchman, he set out last week, didn't play at any level. He sat in as 18th man. Are you expecting him to have another week sitting on the sidelines doing nothing, or do you think he might be a late inclusion in the team?
No, I can't see him being a late inclusion. Hook doesn't do that. Toby Couchman is a good player. He'll be 18th man again, I think. Unless there's an injury or a head bin or the report, whatever they do now. He might get a run, but no, he'd be wasted as usual.
Yeah, I think Couchman will get a run. I think he'll come in and maybe Michael Molo or Ben Murdoch-Masilla, one of those guys will miss out. I don't see any point in giving him 2 weeks where he doesn't play any football at all. I think you either give him a run in first grade off the bench this week, or you send him home to get some good minutes playing New South Wales Cup. Because
but like somebody said before, that has Hook sort of got to a point now, he hasn't got a job, so he goes, fuck it, I'll just use the same team. Just get the last week's sheet of paper out and go have that.
Yeah, but if he knows he doesn't have a job, why does he still have a fucking job?
I said earlier on in the year it'd be round 10, but I didn't realise round 10 and round 11 were with Queensland. So he'll be gone next week, I'm telling you now.
You reckon this is his last game, win, lose or draw?
Yep. What they'll do, they go up to Townsville after the game. They'll say, "Listen, Hook, you just go back home to Rockhampton. We'll go down and pack your desk up, and we'll send it up to you." So yeah, that's what they're gonna do. He's close to home up there. Get your Uber home.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't understand. Like, everybody knows that he is going to get sacked. Everybody knows he's going
In the
to get
world.
sacked.
I reckon
So-
I could ask my uncle in the UK and he'd know.
Why does he still have a job? Like, Muzzer, you've got some insight here, mate.
No, not really. No, I was just sort of commenting on those the comments about he knows that he hasn't got a job, so he doesn't give a shit. Obviously, when he leaves, whether it be next week or next year, he's going to want a job somewhere. So, all the conspiracy theorists sounds good, but
That's right.
anybody that wants a job somewhere else is not going to deliberately bloody sabotage where they are. It's just that dumb that it looks like he is, I guess. But it's I don't think anyone's going to do that. And we've all got jobs. We've all played footy, and we all know that when we're there, well, most of the time, we're there to do a job. And we want a job with somebody else. We're not going to bloody slack off because that next employer's not going to want us, are they? So, conspiracy theory sounds good, but I don't think so.
Well, you don't slack off till you sign your next contract, do you?
Yeah.
Well, like the players do, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you've got another job to go to.
That's it. I don't have to do much here.
Yeah.
But he certainly doesn't have another job to go to.
Yeah, well, Chloe, who would hire Hook?
Whoever is desperate. That's what I want to say. Whoever is desperate for a coach.
I think the Leeds Centurions are after a coach. They haven't won a game in about 10 years, I don't think. So, it would be perfect fit over there.
Maybe you can re-raise the West Wales Raiders.
Yes. Send it to Toronto. You can go to Toronto.
They
They look for coaches over there because they Toronto Wolfpack, whatever they're called. They've just started a new comp up there with 18 teams, so they're looking for players and coaches.
Unfortunately, it's been a bit of a dog's breakfast in terms of what's happened in North America over the last few years. So they've basically had their own sort of Super League war.
They have.
So it's been a bit of round and round in circles, and they're really not big enough to be trying to have split comps and a couple of different comps running at the same time, competing against each other. But anyway, we digress. We're a Dragon show, not we're not chasing kangaroos here on the Mad Dragons podcast. But I'll go to you, Hasman. Jaden Sullivan, again named at 14. Again, is the plan this week exactly the same as it was last week, or are they going to do something different this week and Sullivan's going to go back to just playing as the normal 14 and come off the bench and play 9?
No, I think it'll be a literal copy and paste from last week. I don't think Hook's going to change anything about this, about the game plan or the team whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be exactly the same strategy, exactly the same plan, more or less exactly the same team. I think there's some chance of Toby Couchman coming in, but other than that, I think it's going to be exactly the same. One thing that is a little bit different, Muzzer.
Game is
Chloe?
It's three. It's Ben Hunt's 300th game too, so maybe they might not change it because it's his 300th game. I just thought to share with you. Sorry.
Well, that's always a possibility too. Like, it's his 300th game, milestone game. He prefers to play 7, so maybe they'll let him play 7 the whole game.
Yeah, that's all I was thinking of because it's been all over everything. So I was just sharing that. Maybe he might go to 9 instead. Maybe Sullivan. I don't know, but who knows?
Look, any coach worth a pinch of shit would wouldn't be worried about bloody milestone games and where the player likes to play. They'll play him in the position that they think is the best position in order to win the bloody football game. On the other hand, we are talking about who knows.
Yeah, I agree with you, but there's something that, and that's what I say. That's why I'm a bit over Ben Hunt, because I feel he's very selfish, and then, he will back coach. And I know he's our general, he's our captain. However, he has to like be willing to go, okay, I'll do 20 minutes or something in 9, let Jaden come in. If it works, I'll stay there for the half. Like, communicate. That's it. But he's more worried about yelling at people if they do something wrong for 2.2 seconds. So
Yeah, do you think that Craig Bellamy would put up with that bullshit?
no, that's why I want him. I'll give him my whole earnings for a year just to have him at our club.
You must earn a little bit more than me if you think that's going to make a difference.
No, I'm a very, but I just thought.
He wouldn't come to this club for all the tea in China.
We can all throw in Chloe.
Hey,
I got $10.
but even like Brendan's
I got an empty aluminium can. You can get 10 cents for that.
thanks. Everyone bring your cans, okay? We're going to try and get Bellamy.
Muzzer, Rob
Yeah.
Saguna says that he doesn't think Hook will put Sullivan on at all if we are winning. Do you think that's true?
Well, funnily enough, I was actually about to say, like last week, he came on it when we were 14-4 down, and I was going to ask, what would happen if we were 14-4 up. So, yeah, I was sort of along the same lines.
Are we any
Again-
chance of winning though with Moses and by at 9?
But no.
Well, we're not going to be 14-4 up, no. So I don't know if we'll get the chance, Rob, to see that, but let's. I don't want to be waiting until we're 10, 14 points down to see him either. So
Yeah, I'd hate to be 20-0 down by the time Sullivan gets out there and saying, "Do your best, son." But
well, he put him out there when we were down last week, and obviously he did enough to get it back into it. But we're up in Townsville. If we're, like you said, if we're 20 down, he puts him on, and we lose by 30. It's it's all Bud's fault.
it's all Bud's fault. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, poor bugger. He's got nothing to lose this week.
Big T, Grant Rower. He says apparently we talked to Jason Riles informally today. Do we get Riles or do we go after Hasman's brother Des?
I thought you were going to say Hasman's brother Hornby because he's bald like Hornby, Sorry, Has. Sorry, mate. I'm bald too. But mine's by choice, mate. Mine's by choice. I've still got a full head of hair. Riles, I don't think a rookie coach will handle the Dragons myself. There's a lot of work to do. They haven't been through it before. You need to get a coach who's been through it before and pulled the club through, and I don't know who that is. Yeah, look at the available candidates. But Riles, he's been under Robinson and Bellamy, so he's got the ticks next to his name. Yeah. Again, I don't think either of them will be ready to handle the Dragons.
Yeah, and I think that's it's all well and good to say, oh, that's the guy we want. We want Jason Riles or we want Des Hasler. It's all well and good for the Dragons to come out and say that these are the guys we want. Do they want us?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who wants to come there? Who wants to be able to take a basket case and turn them into a penthouse apartment? You know what I mean? Like,
well, how long is that going to take? Like, how?
Are they going to get in 3 years, like they gave Hook?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, if we're 5 years away from success, a coach comes in and they've got to they've got to work hard. They've got to make all the right decisions. They've got to do absolutely everything right for 5 years. And during that time, even if they're making all the right decisions, we're still not going all that well. Are fans going to put up with it? Like that's going to be another coach out the door.
That's right. Yeah, you're just not going to we're not going to be happy. Are we going to be as fans? Unless all six of us, are we going to want instant results from the new coach, or is it going to be Hook, McGregor, and Price all over again?
Jesse, do you want to answer that one first?
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm late. Just had a bit of trouble. But yeah, I think we've got to maybe look at a team like Penrith when they started. They started rebuilding. We've got
They
to
had a
start from
10-year plan,
scratch.
yes.
Yeah, I think we might have to go down the same road. I can't see us we're not a quick fix. That's what Mary tried when he bought players like Hunt, Tarek Sims. Yeah, with it.
Well, we've had 10, 11 years of mediocrity, of nothing.
Yeah.
One season.
It's not gonna do it in 1 year. No.
Yeah.
So are they going to want immediate success?
Well, I mean, I didn't expect immediate success with Griffin. I sort of expected it to take 3 years before we started to see any improvement. So I mean, he had his first year, that was a complete write-off, honeymoon year, barbecue gate, all that sort of stuff. Forget about the first year. Second year, he improved the team from where they were to finish 10th, but had a good amount of wins. I think we won as many as we lost in his second year. Third year, he needed to continue that improvement, and so far we have not seen continued improvement. We seem to have chucked it in reverse. We've got the white lights on, and we're going backwards at a great rate of knots. So it's I suppose another interesting thing, Chloe, is this idea that the board has to be unanimous on the choice of the replacement coach. And I'm just looking in the comments, and in consecutive comments, Nath Battershall says it would be a bad move if we get Hornby or Dean Young. And Gary Avenel says, please not Des. Rob Saguna says, no ex-Dragon players. Well, that rules out everyone that has so far been mentioned. What chance do we have of 8 board members agreeing if we've got 3 consecutive comments from Dragons fans that rule out every single possible option?
Well, I agree with the whole ex-Dragons players coming in to be coaches. I might stir the pot, but I actually agree because I don't know, I just feel like they've played, but they're not a coach. Like, no offense to like Jason Riles, he was with some of the great coaches being like assistant, but I just think, and with Desi, I like him, but yeah, there will be people who have different opinions. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 6 of us on here that have different opinions. And, you know, I totally agree that we can't even choose and they can't choose. So we're just all truly, truly fucked. That's all I can say. Sorry.
Yeah.
I swore. We're fucked. I just think leave the old boys to the old boys. But yeah, who is the coach that will come in? What is it? Who is that coach that will, Wayne Bennett? Yeah, Wayne Bennett's Wayne Bennett, but I could see that oomph, that confidence in the team where, even though they lost, that they still would come back. I don't feel that with our team at the moment. It's just no confidence, lacking, no team spirit, which is sad because they're there, they're training. There's I just don't see a lot happening in our team, which is very sad.
Yeah. Jesse?
Well, you're talking about the greatest coach of all time when we had Wayne. There's no comparison between him and Hook.
Did that spoil Dragons fans? Do you think we're a bunch of spoiled fucking brats now that we expect everybody to be Wayne Bennett? Because no one else in history has ever been Wayne Bennett.
No one's ever going to achieve what he's done in the game.
Yes,
I can't see it. 900 games, 7 premierships. He's coached Australia, he's coached Queensland, he's coached New Zealand, coached England. No one's ever going to beat his record. I can't see what he's done in the game.
They reckon he's coached over 1,200 games.
He's coached 6% of games played since 1908.
6%.
6%, more than any other coach. Nearly 40 years he's been coaching. No one's going to come close to what he's done in the game. And yeah, you look at only him and Hook have been the coaches that have been outside the club. You look at 99, we had David Waite and Andrew Farrar. We had Andrew Farrar, who played for, Illawarra as well as coached Illawarra. You look at Nathan Brown, who took over from him. Not all players make good coaches. There are a small bunch that do go on to make good coaches. Doesn't just because they're great players doesn't mean they transition into great coaches.
There's been a heap of great players. Like some of the best players make terrible coaches.
McGregor was a great player. He's a prime example.
Well, and there's been some very, very average, ordinary players, blokes that didn't even make it to the top level, or maybe played 1 or 2 games at the top level. Fantastic coaches. I think this idea that you have to have played the game at the top level to be able to speak, I think that's a crock of shit. Mother?
Yeah, well, just on that, I mean, you look at the 2 probably best coaches, or the 3 best coaches in the game now, Bennett, Bellamy, and throw Robinson in. None of them were great players.
No,
they've gone on. But getting back to the ex-Dragons players, look, I'm of the belief that I don't really care if they played for us or not, mate. If they can do the job, probably with the exception of Dean Young, who would be considered as a jobs for the boys type setup if he was given the nod. But these guys last played. What? Well, when did Hornby last play? He hasn't played with any of these guys.
2012.
2012. So they haven't played with any of these guys before. There's, but like I said, Young's got the
family connection.
Craig in the background. But if these blokes can come to the club and do the job, or come back to the club and do the job, who gives a shit if they've been here? Honestly, I mean, we're all saying how much we need a new coach. We've been whinging about it all year, well, 18 months. There's blokes there that are capable of doing the job, and 80% of us as supporters overall are kicking them in the guts before they even get a go.
Yeah.
If Hornby's the best bloke for the job, let's get behind it. But for me, I'm still in Flanagan's corner. I'd love to see Flanagan coaching, maybe with Hornby or one of those blokes. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't give a shit where they're from, as long as they're going to do the job.
I 100% agree with that, mate. I think this whole, they played for the Dragons, therefore they're not an option. Like, why? Like, who cares who they played for? The only thing that matters is, are they a good coach? Like, stop asking the wrong questions. Who did they used to play for? Fucking who cares? Are they a good coach? That's the only relevant question. Hazman?
Yes, I just wanted to double down on that. This jobs for the boys thing is absolute fucking load of bullshit. You have a look at Matt Cooper, who's done everything but beg to be the defensive coach. He's probably one of the greatest defensive centers the game's ever seen. Now, if he gets appointed, are people just going to go, this isn't going to work? He's played for the club. Is that? Are people actually going to?
Isn't it funny that one though? Like, everyone says, jobs for the boys. We can't give jobs for the boys. Matt Cooper says, I want a job, and all Dragons fans go, well, why haven't you given him a job? There's a lot of hypocrisy from Dragons fans.
This bloody jobs for the boys bullshit.
Yeah,
like, I mean, the board are a bunch of fucking idiots, but they can't win. They can't win.
Can I just clarify? I wasn't saying jobs for the boys, but I'm just letting I just think, and I understand I appreciate all your and respect your opinions. I'm just saying that it would be better from a clean slate kind of thing and I understand I would love Matt Cooper to be the defense coach. Like, if they were defense coaching or something to help like the forwards, that's all I was meaning, because I just find, I know that it's in the club, but someone with a clean slate that can actually rile the boys up and stuff. But who knows? I'll put my support behind whoever is appointed. I just thought someone not from the club that can have an open, just an open mind and things like that.
For me, where we've gone wrong with former players in the past, it has not. It hasn't been people that have been anywhere else. So I've got no problem with a former player coaching this club. Like a guy like a Nathan Brown, even Paul McGregor to an extent. They never really went anywhere else other than our local area. Paul McGregor coached a couple of local Illawarra comps and never really went anywhere else to learn his trade before he came in and became the Dragons' first grade coach. I think with a guy like Jason Riles, Ben Hornby, even Dean Young, like they've left the club, they've gone somewhere else, they've got new experiences outside of the club. They're going to bring in new ideas. Even though they've been at the club before, they're bringing in new ideas of ways they can change things to make it better at the Dragons than what it was when they were there. So I still think while they did play for us, they've been outside. They've seen the world now. Let's bring them home. Like I think there is an argument. And again, like I don't know. Like I love the apprenticeship that Jason Riles has done. I love it. Like Craig Bellamy, Trent Robinson, Eddie Jones. It doesn't get any better than that. Like that's as good an apprenticeship as you're going to do. But I know fuck all about Jason Riles as a coach. I don't know what his philosophies are. I don't know. I don't know if he's any good. Yes, he's learned from some good coaches, but is he any good? I don't know. You'd have to actually sit down, interview the bloke, talk to him, and you know see what he thinks about coaching, how he thinks about the modern game. Is he the right fit for the club? So I think a lot of people make assumptions on a lot of these coaches, and I don't know that there's a great deal of facts. I don't know that anybody in the Dragons fan base knows a great deal about how Jason Riles actually approaches his coaching journey. Jesse?
Well, as you mentioned, like ex-players, like Nathan Brown wasn't bad. He always got us to the semi-finals. Like we just couldn't get to that premiership. We had the side there. Like you look at those early 2000 sides we had. 2005 was a lost opportunity, I thought. We had 2006. We could have won one as well. So Nathan Brown had the side. He just couldn't take us to that premiership. Bennett was brought in to just take him to that next level. I've heard a name actually popped up today. It hasn't really been spoke about much, but anyone like the thoughts of John Morris, maybe? He was at Cronulla for a couple of years and brought a lot of these young players now that starting to come as seasoned players now at the Sharks, and he was their under-20s coach before he got the NRL job. Is he another option? Would be good for developing our young guys and have a team full of youngsters with a hunt to build around.
Yeah, I thought John Morris got a little bit harshly dealt with by the Sharks. I thought he was doing a fair job. Again, he might be in that sort of category of a guy that might be desperate enough for another chance as an NRL coach that he might be willing to consider the Dragons. So, and again, I think that's the position that we've kind of put ourselves in, is we need someone that's desperate enough to actually want to coach us. And some of the names that we actually want, they might not want to put up with a team that's going to struggle for the first 3 years that they're there, particularly a rookie coach starting out. If they're going to have a 35-40% win record after 3 seasons, and then they get the arse, what's the chance of them getting another gig? So they might not want to come into that sort of situation, that sort of scenario.
Trent Barrett's an example of that. I don't think he coaches again.
No, probably not. Big T?
I was just going to say that there's a lot of coaches that are desperate for a gig. You still got Brett Kamali and Mick Potter. They're out there. They done pretty good jobs at West Tigers and Canterbury, respectively, where they coached at the end of the year. So there's still going to be desperate coaches who are going to want to come to the Dragons.
Well, Brett Kamali's got a job.
He's got a job.
He's coaching the West Tigers NRLW side this year.
Oh, yeah. That's a start for him. Anyway, he didn't do a bad job with the Tigers at the end of last year or the year before, whenever he was there. He didn't do a bad job. And Mick Potter, he got the Canterbury side firing when he went there. So,
yeah, I definitely think Potter got the Dogs playing a completely different brand of footy that was exciting to watch towards the back end of the year. I don't know about Noddy. I think Noddy kind of struggled. I think the Tigers just continued to struggle with after he took over. I don't know.
I thought he improved the Tigers, but again, you're saying they struggled. They couldn't get to that next level.
They won one game under Kamali.
Yeah, but he's desperate, But they're all desperate to have jobs.
Yeah,
they want jobs. They want a paycheck.
And again, like if he's the right man for the job, if he's a guy that actually fits what it is that we're trying to get from the next coach, and that's the question I'd love to see answered at this Red V members forum that's been announced for next Tuesday. Is what is it that they're actually looking for from the next coach? Because we know it's not Hook. What are they looking for from the replacement? What are the attributes they're searching for?
I think they're all out of clues and looking for ideas from the members. We'll get you guys in to fix it up.
Yeah,
you know how to do it.
We've said for years, just get the Mad Dragons vodcast on the coaching staff, and we'll take over. But
we'll take over the board. We'll take over the board.
Yeah,
you can be the chairman, Donny.
We're definitely never going to be unanimous on anything, I wouldn't think, except that Hook needs to go. We're definitely.
Last week we were mostly unanimous on the tips. Last week we only got 4 from 7, but
we still didn't do any good.
No, bloody Dolphins.
That's about as good a strike rate as our board. So we're.
Well, I stood down with I used my joker this week, and I started off good, 4 from 5. And then Sunday's games just smacked me right in the ass.
Yeah, I don't think you were the only one, mate. I think they were all upsets and all surprise results.
For sure, yeah.
Most people would have the same as you. Well, I've had a question sitting here for the last probably 45 minutes, Muzzer, from John Muller. I've probably missed about 1,000 more questions that are below it. And again, it's about the replacement coach. He said, do you guys think one of the mentioned candidates will come mid-season, or will we have to wait until next season before the new coach actually comes on board?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, because it's something that's been brought up, that when something like this does happen, you get a caretaker coach in while they make the decision. And I think I said it last week that, surely the club knows that Hook is not the direction and he's not the future. Surely they know that we need a new coach. Surely they've done their homework. Surely they've got a good idea who they want. Hopefully that they've spoken to those people that they do want, and if they've made a decision that they're the ones that are going to be there, I'd get them straight in. Don't muck around, wait till next year. Get them in, let them play with what they got this year, and let them work out whether we need to search the market again. Like I said, let these kids rip and tear, show us what they've got, and start from scratch next year. But I'd bring them straight in.
Yeah. Sorry, I just saw a chat come through. I don't know exactly what it said, but I think if we've got a coach lined up that's ready to come in, certainly bring them in. But I think the first thing we've got to do is get rid of Hook. I don't know what benefit we get right now from keeping a guy around that we know is gone. Like it seems like he knows he's gone. All the fans know he's gone. All the media knows he's gone. I think the board knows he is done. But they're keeping him there. Like surely he's the only thing he's doing from this point is white-handing the club. Like it doesn't. There doesn't seem to be any great benefit in keeping him around apart from saving a few dollars. Jesse, do you think it's as simple as that?
I don't think it is. No. Like they don't know what they want to spend the money on. They can't agree on those sort of things. Like, what do you think they should just go back to a majority vote? Like that, as you said, they're not going to do. They're not going to agree on everything or anything at all. Really, it's going to have to be something obvious for them to be agreeing on. But yeah, money-wise, I don't know why they don't spend the money like to bring players. Like you look at both our NRL and NRLW sides like West. Why aren't we spending the money to bring the players there? Are we worried about paying too much over so that we'll burn our cap? Like we can't attract big names. Like some of our players, it's ridiculous the money they're on. And then there's been well, it's only it was revealed sometime last year that Hook's actually the cheapest coach in the game. Yet they don't want to make action now. I think he's under $500,000 the season he's on or something. You guys can confirm that. I'm not sure, but
I don't think anyone can confirm that. But yeah, I wouldn't imagine that when he got extended at the start of last year that they would have offered him big money.
So I don't know what the problem is. What's the hold up and why they're not making action on him? Like on 360, I was watching 360 last night, and James Hooper was reporting that that's just weeks away from the board making a decision. Like I don't know, like you said in the chats the last couple of days about this information session next week, that when the Dragons come back from Townsville next week, that they surely Hook's sacked by then. Like Hooper did mention last night that Hook will be the coach for the Cowboys game. After that, it's uncertain. So time will tell.
Well, I might ask Chloe and Jesse as well, I suppose. Chloe first of all, but living down sort of near that way, down in Wollongong, are you going to be able to get to the Red V Members Forum in person?
No, but I'm going online, so I'll do it before the Mad podcast on next week. So
yeah, well, I'll definitely be there online as well. Listening in, I've sent through 26 questions.
I'll bring the popcorn. I'll bring the popcorn, guys. I'm like, what? Oh no! You know, it's like a tennis match.
But I'm Muzza, I mean, do you think that it is that the fact that they've only allocated an hour, like it's not a Q&A session, so a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's going to be Dragons fans sitting there throwing questions at the CEO and the GM and the chairman, but it's not that at all. Like this, that they've asked for ideas in terms of topics, but it's not a Q&A, it's a presentation for an hour. Do you think this is again lip service to Dragons fans, a little bit disrespectful that that's all the time they've afforded us?
Yeah, look, probably just giving the fans what they think they want, giving them this thinking they've got this platform to get in there and have a say and ask those questions. I mean, like you said, you got 26 yourself. You know, that's a portion of the questions that need to be asked, I guess.
Well, that was the 26 that I thought of in the 3 seconds while I was filling out my registration form. I've since thought of another 50 or 60. So there is so many.
I don't trust no one. I don't trust no one these days. They're trying to dupe us, mate. They've already got an agenda. They've already got what they're going to talk about, and they're going to pick somebody's name out of a hat and say, Rob Seguno asked us this question. You know, like we're going to talk about this now, but they've already had it. They've already got the agenda.
100% agree. 100% agree.
What they're going to do? Sorry, Don. If they do ask any questions, they're going to have the people pinpointed in the crowd to ask a question to that they know the answer they're going to get. They're not going to take any random questions. They'll be asking questions to people that they planted in the fucking crowd.
Yeah, for sure. They already have an agenda to what they want. So it's just a front for another bullshit session at the Dragons.
Yeah, mate. It's I completely agree with what you said, Big T. I think it's a presentation, and they've already got the presentation written. The fact that they're asking the fans what topics do you want covered is complete lip service. They've already got the presentation prepared. Yes. The PowerPoint's already done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Daryl Orrock asks what day is it? I haven't even opened the email. It's next Tuesday. What is it, between 7 and 8? Yeah, so next Tuesday between 7 and 8.
That's just before our VOD.
Yeah, exactly right.
RSVP by Thursday.
Yeah, so we'll listen in, and half an hour later we'll go live and I'm sure that will dominate discussions. It's Team List
will.
Tuesday as well. So
I wonder what's going to be on our agenda next week.
Well, again, like, do you think they're doing this knowing that Big T? Do you think they're doing this knowing that they're already going to have sacked Hook?
I was going to add a couple of things to the agenda next week. One of them was, why haven't we sacked Hook? And I don't know if they're going to talk about sacking Hook on Tuesday. I don't think they will.
They have to. It's the only thing people want to bloody hear about.
Oh, I know it is. And even if they haven't sacked him, they won't talk about him.
Yeah.
Well, apparently on Channel 7, I was watching the news today, and there's going to be something going on at Cogra when we play the Roosters. I don't know what it is, but a fan texted someone, the Michelle lady. So I don't know. So watch out if anyone's going to the Roosters game. Something the fans have had enough, and there might be banners or something. So that's what I got. That's what was on the news today.
Yeah. Muzzer, was it you that said that Rob Saguna is going to be the plant in the crowd?
No. What I meant was he's not going to take. They won't take.
I know what you meant, but Rob's just come and he said, "I've already got my planted question." He said, "Can you please put Hook, Dalston, Umbai on a boat out to sea one way off the Wollongong Heads?" That's a good plant question.
Yes,
Jesse.
Yeah, I was actually at the corresponding one last year. They had at St George at Cogra. What they talked about last year was like where our roster is, that new Centre of Excellence at the University of Wollongong, how much money the club's got, how they prepare players to come through the pathway system to the first grade. And there was a lot of ridiculous questions from other fans as well, like, I can't remember all of them, but a lot of them were ridiculous.
I remember one question about Connor Mullison, because
yes.
Hook was at that one.
Yeah, Hook was at last year's one. He said, he's 2 years away from playing first grade. And then some people asked, like, people grow up, the kids of today, like, they grow up because they've seen the Dragons lose. They say, why do we support a team that loses all the time? They don't understand that. Like, they want to, why can't I go support the Panthers? They always win. Like, the kids of today.
Well, you can go and support the Panthers.
Like, yeah, the kids want to support a team that's winning. Like, they don't understand that we grew up, we've always supported the Dragons growing up, and they haven't seen a successful Dragons side since they've been born. Like, it's hard to tell them that we love the Dragons from this area, and that's it. There were things like that brought up too, and like, what makes you want to play for the Dragons? What's our DNA? What do we live to play for? Do we have that? What's in our DNA? What's our motto?
Yeah, and again, I think one of the positive things that I have definitely noticed over the last couple of weeks is that Dragons fans are united, which I don't think we see that very often in our supporter base. I think quite often we're divided. I think there is a lot of partisanship towards St George or towards Illawarra, or and some people towards St George Illawarra. I think that we are a club that is generally divided, but I think at the moment we're all 100% united. That Hook's got to go. It's one thing that pretty much every single Dragons fan agrees with. And
the other one is Mbwa's got to go too. We all agree on that one too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think I don't know whether I've heard too many people that have a different opinion on that one either. So yeah,
So that's two of them. You're beauty.
Well, actually, someone raised to me a good point today. Why is Kerr still playing first grade? Why are we still using him if he's going to the Dolphins next year? Why should we develop him for the sake of the Dolphins? That's what someone asked me today.
Well, he's 27. He's developed. Like, we're not developing him. We're playing him because he's playing good footy. But
He's in our squad. What? He's.
I guess the question is, like, a lot of you guys actually brought up on Sunday, saying the season's over. We've got to start planning for next year. If we're planning for next year, do you include a guy that's actually not at the club next year?
No, I don't. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think we're planning for next year. I think we're putting the best team on the field each week as he sees it. And I think Josh Kerr is clearly in our best 17. I think the fact that he's on the bench is a bit perplexing with the way he's been going. I think he's been absolutely fantastic for us and was one of our better players again last week. Despite the fact he's already signed elsewhere. So long as he continues to perform, I've got no issue with him being in the 17. But I can definitely see the argument that if we're writing this season off, we're saying we're completely done. There's no chance in hell of us coming back and making the 8 and going on a run and making the 8. Then why are you including a guy that's not going to be there next year? So I can definitely see that argument. I don't necessarily agree with it. All right, we might break this up a little bit, and we'll go into this segment.
Okay, guys. So my question tonight, actually, Big T and I actually come up with this together. So it's the only time the Cowboys and Dragons have actually had a top 4 battle. It was back in 2005. So can you name who was the man of the match that night in the 2005 top 4 battle? So at the time, the Dragons were running third and the Cowboys were 4th. Who was the man of the match for the Dragons? It was a rare win in Townsville. We haven't had the best record in Townsville. This was at the old Dairy Farmers Stadium. It was the Dragons win that night. Who was the man of the match?
Man of the match in the 2005 top 4 battle between the Dragons and the Cowboys in Townsville. Tolly Angelides says Mark Gasnier.
No, it's not Mark Gasnier.
Not Mark Gasnier. All right. Well, we might ask a question while we wait for a couple of other responses to come in. I can't even remember who I'm up to be honest. So Hasman's back on. Fantastic. We'll go to Hasman with this question. Sheena Didio says, why is our season over? If we can get our shit sorted in the next few weeks, we still have hope. Would you agree with that comment?
Look, it is when you start talking about mathematically possible, which I think is pretty much the stage where we're at now. I mean, how many games did we need to win from here on in to guarantee ourselves a top 8 spot? My answer to that would be, based on what I've seen the last 10 weeks, more than we're capable of. Especially if Hook sticks around to the end of the year, that's not going to happen unless the football gods really smile on us. But I think at this point of the season, the way that we've been sort of playing, we've been beaten by as you said earlier, Donnie, the bottom 3 teams. I mean, we've still got the likes of, Penrith, Roosters, South, fucking Melbourne. I wouldn't back us to, beat the Cowboys this week. I just don't see how we're going to win enough games.
Yeah, I don't agree that our season is over. I don't agree with that sentiment. I think the way that we're playing, if we continue playing like that, we might very well win the spoon. I think there's every possibility. I can't see how we recover to make the 8, but in the same breath, we're only 3 wins from 3rd. So I mean to say that the season's over 10 rounds into the season when you're 3 wins from 3rd, I don't think that's necessarily correct. It's not mathematically possible. It's still within our own power to win games. But I agree also with what you said, Hasman, in that we've got harder games to come. We've got this first 10 rounds was the easy part of our draw. Through the easy part of our draw, we have won just 2 games. Now we get into the hard part of the draw and we're playing catch up. It's hard for fans. It's hard for anyone to see any possibility of our season not being over. So I think that's why a lot of us are a little bit downtrodden and thinking that our season is over. Yes, we can. If we win every game from here on until the end of the season, we'll be the minor premiers. But that's not going to fucking happen.
Not on current form.
No. So it's
Hasman's right. Mathematically, we can still make it, and everyone knows that. But we have to turn it around now.
Daryl Orrock, he's probably the most positive person I've seen about the Dragons. He's still saying, guys, we will make the 8 with a lot of exclamation marks after it. So it's great to see that we've still got fans that are maintaining the faith and thinking that we can do this, and we can. I think we've got the skill within the squad to do it. I just can't see how we do it so long as Hook is still the coach and wasting 25, 30 minutes every game with them by starting at 9. I don't understand any of the decisions he's making. I don't see how we're improving. I don't see how we beat the better teams because we've looked awful against the worst teams in the comp. I don't.
Yeah, we've had our easy draw. It's all gone. See you later. It's gone. Yeah. Daryl's also answered the question. Asked the Jags question as well.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Daryl said Trent Barrett.
That's correct. Trent Barrett.
Well done, Daryl. Easy name to say, Daryl Orrick. Easy name.
Jesse, you had something else to add there too?
Yes, well, I was going to say, like you said, there is part of the draw's gone. Like, as Big T said, the last 5 games we've lost by a margin of 13, all up. Like the way we're playing at the moment, we'll be lucky to win another game. That's my honest opinion. And I don't see us improving while Hook is still the coach of this club. That's in pure honesty. I'm being a realist. That's how I feel that. Yeah, while Hook is still the coach, we won't win another game of football the way we are playing currently. And we will be, with the tougher games coming up, we could get belted by 50 points if the way we are playing. I don't mean to say it like that, but that's just how I see it.
Big T. Daryl says it's pronounced Oric, boys, so you fucked it up.
I didn't have a pronunciation calendar. I didn't have the calculator out. I couldn't find it. So, yeah, Oric. Oric. Sorry, Daryl. Oric.
Yeah, all right.
Farmer are we?
Oh, yep. Okay. Sorry. Jesse's just reminded me that he wanted me to play a bit of a clip of
just the first couple of minutes will do.
Yeah, hang on. I've got to find it now. You've put me on the spot. I did have it up, but that one. Right. We're going to play the full 2 hours of that entire game.
Cowboys versus the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Friday Night Football on 9.
Scenes reminiscent of the Cowboys semi-final at this ground against Brisbane last September. Another huge crowd in. It is a wonderful atmosphere. Everybody in very good spirits with high expectations tonight as we welcome you to what promises to be one of the best Friday night games we've seen on 9 this season, with the third-place Dragons up against the fourth-place Cowboys. In my opinion, the two most entertaining teams in the league. And Matthew Johns, that is not something I say lightly. In my opinion, I do think that when they are at their very best, these sides are almost unbeatable. So when they come together, that makes for an intriguing contest. How do you rate them?
It's going to be exciting. Two very good teams in great form. More importantly, Pete, at this time of the year, they can both win the competition without a shadow of a doubt. Dragons, what about them last week? Absolutely sensational. But the Cowboys, they're hard to beat at home. It's warm, it's humid, it's different football up here. And I saw the Cowboys before the game, Pete, just before we come on here. And I tell you what, they look good. They're up for this challenge without a shadow of a doubt.
And as was the case last year, gathering momentum as we get into the run to the finals. At fullback tonight, arguably the best broken field runner in the game, Matt Bowen. On the wings, one of last week's heroes, Ty Williams, got a hat-trick against Manly. On the other flank, the very experienced Matt Singh. In the centres, Josh Hannay finding form after being out injured and a short stay in Premier League. And his centre partner, former captain Paul Bowman. At 5'8", and it may be a permanent move to the number 6 for Jonathan Thurston. At half-back, a significant signing for the club mid-season, Brett Furman, up against one of his old clubs tonight. At lock forward is the skipper Travis Norton. In the second row, the Bruce brothers, Steve Southern, hard-hitting man, alongside the aggressive Luke O'Donnell. And in the front row, the cornerstone of their forward pack, Paul Rauhihi, and hooker Aaron Payne. And after 8 weeks on the sideline with injury, Carl Webb is rushed into the run on side. So their bench tonight, Rod Jensen and David Fayumu, and two big men in Mitchell Sargent and Shane Tronk, coached by Graham Murray. Graham Murray and Nathan Brown, two of the most approachable and likeable coaches in the competition. And we do congratulate Nathan Brown, turned 32 during the week. So happy birthday, Nathan.
32, and looks 42. That's what coaching does to you. Have a look at the 3-2 to Graham Murray. But a very important game tonight. That doesn't mean a lot. Let's have a look at this Dragon side in great touch. The fullback, a great young talent, Clint Greenshields. The wingers are two of the most improved players in the competition in my book, Colin Best and Wes Nagama. The centres for the Dragons, well, they're lethal. How good are they going? Mark Gaznia, who was in rare touch, and so is his partner, Matty Cooper, a real handful. The halves, well, they're the captain, Trent Barrett, a great player, and Ben Hornby, who is making a real go with the number 7 jersey. The back row consists of the warhorse, Sean Timmins, the very exciting youngster, Ben Cray, and the passionate Lance Thompson. But what about this front row, Pete? I think it's the best in the league at the moment. The bull, Luke Bailey, Dean Young, who was one of the form forwards in the competition, and the big Jason Rolls. The bench is strong. Ashton Sims, Justin Paul, alongside Corey Payne and young Mick Ennis.
Well, just quickly, Matt, where's this game won tonight?
Right, we might cut it there. I mean, it's some very good teams, I think, for both sides that they put on the park, and yeah, no, it was. I particularly liked the bit in the intro where Peter Sterling said the two most exciting teams in the competition. I think right now it's pretty safe to say both these teams would be down near the bottom in terms of excitement. Muzzer, I know you in particular have not been enjoying the style of footy that the Dragons have been playing.
The Dragons or the Cowboys?
Well, the Dragons, you haven't been particularly.
No,
we don't often talk about the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, right. Yeah, well, yeah, we touched on it the other day, just the boring, hit it up, give it to Ben Hunt, kick to the corner. It gets a bit monotonous after a while. Yeah, it's a terrible style of footy. I mean, and I keep saying it's just boring to watch. They could learn to shift the ball or get coached to shift the ball or get told they're not going to get dropped if they try it. Not what Sloan tried to do from his own 22 right on half time, but little chip and chases when they're in their half at least. Someone's got to try and bring those back, or just some entertaining footy, like you said. That for them to be talking about us as entertaining as one of the most entertaining sides in the comp. It seems like that so long ago when people were talking like that about us.
Yeah, I definitely think we, like under Nathan Brown, we did play a really attractive brand of footy. I think under Wayne Bennett, we certainly got criticised for being boring. But when you're boring and you're winning, Dragons fans don't give a shit. But you're boring and losing, it's like getting thumped in the guts again and again and again. So
yeah, well, if you're winning, you can get away with it, I guess, like you just said. But yeah, but we're not winning much at all. It's terrible and it's boring. I don't like it. Get a coach in there that's going to let them throw the ball around. Play what do you call it? Play heads up footy, eyes up footy, whatever, and just have a dig.
I think the three boys play their best football when they play what's in front of them. Amono, Sullivan, and Sloan. They play the best football when they play what's in front of them.
Yeah, and that gets other blokes, like your Lomaxes and your Phenais, and that gets them running up too, and
that's right.
But like we've touched on earlier, it's the forwards you've got to get moving forward for those guys to be able to do that. And if we haven't got a full pack that's going to be moving forward for 80 minutes, then those blokes aren't going to get the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
And that's a good forward pack they're against this week too. The Cowboys, on their day, they're one of the best packs in the comp.
They got a couple out though, I think.
Yeah, Nanai's still out. Tamalolo's still a week away, I think. But I think they're then the same side that beat the Roosters on Sunday. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think at their best, they're a pretty good forward pack. But I mean, you look at their pack, their front row, Jordan McLean and Cohen Hess are two guys right at the back end of their career. Hylam Lukey is a guy that's on the way up. He's a talented youngster. Jack Kaczewski's just a player. So I don't think their forward pack's all that flash. Ruben Cotter's a very, very good player, but an undersized prop. He's not a guy that's gonna scare the pants off you. But he's probably exactly the kind of guy that we're going to have problems with, because footwork in and around the middle of the ruck has seemed to scare the shit out of us this year. So and we always struggle against a fast dummy half like Reece Robson. So I think that's our biggest concern is Robson tearing us apart, because whenever we play against guys like Robson and Damien Cook and Appy Coruscant, they seem to cause us all sorts of dramas. So I think that's, again, a very big concern in around the middle, is that we don't dominate the ruck enough. Hasman, one of the players that Muzzer talked about just a minute ago in terms of Zach Lomax, what do you think the future holds for Lomax? Obviously named to play in the reserve grade side this week, so he is actually going to get a run. Do you think that he plays one game and then comes back in next week, or do you think he's got an extended stint down in reserve grade?
I think unless Fine absolutely plays the house down there this week, I reckon Lomax will come back. I'm just taking a stab in the dark here, but I think what Hook's thinking is, right, give him a week off to clear his head. Give him a game in reserves just to sort of get him going, and then bring him back after that. That's the only possible thing I can come up with. I expect him to be back next week, unless Fine gives Hook a reason not to.
Yeah, Muzzy, you got something to add there, mate?
Yeah, if that's the case, and I think we all probably think along the same lines. What if Zach has an absolute crocker, or just an average game, doesn't cut up like obviously when Buddy went back, he cut him up, and Billy Burns to an extent there at some stages. What if Lomax doesn't show that straight away? Does he keep him down there?
Well, that'll depend on how Fine goes, and which one of them looks like the better option.
Well, they both have an average game.
Yes, sometimes I think Hook doesn't actually watch reserve grade, so I don't know.
Well, surely he's going to watch this one.
I think when Bud was cutting it up and getting 4 try assists every bloody game, and still kept him down in reserve grade, I was doubting severely if he was watching. But just looking at this Newcastle team that they've named for this New South Wales Cup game, there's some interesting players there. Hymel Hunt, Bailey Hodgson at fullback, and Ari Tuala in the centres. They've got Adam Clune in the halves. So there's it's a pretty decent looking team. that we're coming up against, and struggling a little bit in reserve grade as it is. Jesse?
And we already played them earlier this year too, and they won by 20 points, I think it was, down at Shell Harbour.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be on TV too on Sunday as well. So it's the lead up to the Newcastle Gold Coast game. So another game we get to see on Fox and KO.
Yep. So looking forward, and I mean it's an opportunity to see what Lomax does and how he reacts. And I sort of get where you're going with your question, Muzz. If Lomax goes down and plays reserve grade and kicks stones and just has a bit of a shocker and doesn't actually put in the effort and doesn't show his potential and stand out in reserve grade game, then how can you possibly bring him back? And I agree. I think if Lomax doesn't have a blinder, there's no way he comes back into the team. And even if he does have a blinder, I think he still stays in reserve grade for 3 or 4 weeks, so long as Hook's still the coach. I think the second Hook gets sacked as coach, Lomax will be back in the team within 5 seconds, because I think he's clearly along with Sully, he's in our best 2 centres by the length of the straight. I think Max Feney's got a lot of potential, but I don't think right now he's in our top 2 centres. I don't think it's close.
If Lomax plays 3 games in reserve grade, he'll be looking for a release.
Yeah, well, he's got a contract for 100 years. I don't know whether anybody's actually going to take over that contract. He's contracted until like 2028 or something.
What a contract's worth.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got stability. Like he's got guaranteed, what is it, $700,000 a year for the next 5 or 6 years. Unless somebody else is prepared to take over that contract, I don't think he's leaving.
Is there already a rumour that the Roosters are talking to him?
Yeah, that's rubbish.
I don't think he'll go there.
He's not going to
go
there.
That'd be one of the only places he would go, I think, because they're the ones that have got the money.
Not with Jess Surges there.
They're losing. Well, they're losing Swali.
Would you go and work at a workplace where your ex worked?
Depends on if they get on or not.
Yeah, that's right. He's been kicking stones.
Depends how much money you're getting given in a sombrero.
Absolutely. But anyway, I hope not. I think, like a lot of supporters, we just want to see him back to top form and playing like he has been and playing to his potential with with us.
While we are having a bit of a chat about the reserve grade, I might just play the clip from our game on the weekend. It was a very, very interesting game the way this one played out. So let's have a look at this, and then we'll come back and have a bit of a chat about our reserve grade team. Yeah, so obviously a very entertaining game there, but unfortunately the Dragons led by 14 points with 11 minutes to go and end up losing reasonably comfortably in the end, giving up 4 tries in that last 11 minutes, which is that's the Dragons, I think, in 2023. So it's it's definitely somewhat concerning. But there are also some good signs, I thought, in that clip. Particularly with our second rowers, Hasman, both the second rowers, Dylan Egan and also Ryan Couchman bursting into the backfield and setting up tries. So while we don't have a lot of depth in the back row at the moment, it's some decent signs for the future in that position.
I think Ryan Couchman playing NRL, I think, is an absolute bloody certainty. But what really impressed me, just to sort of change tack a little bit, was because I've heard that Paul Turner's not actually that quick. He looked pretty bloody quick to me, chasing down that bloody intercept. And I mean, they scored on the next play anyway. But it was a pretty good get. So I'm thinking Turner's not quite as bad as everyone keeps saying he is.
Yeah, no, he's. I guess there's been a few players over the years that what's the word for it? Laconic, where he sort of looks like he's sort of moving slowly and going through the motions, but certainly when he put the foot down after that intercept, like he looked very, very quick, and there were times a couple of weeks ago when he did first come back after that injury where he looked quite sharp from fullback as well. Again, that doesn't look overly fast. I sort of felt that he was carrying a few extra kegs as well, which probably hasn't helped. But he's maybe starting to really get into his match fitness, and he looks very quick there. I think another one of those players that I mentioned there, Dylan Egan, second rower. Holy hell, his speed was quite impressive as well, getting across there, and the fact that they were able to run a guy down from behind. If we're looking for some speed, there was a couple of guys there that maybe should be in the frame. Chloe, one of the other people that really stood out in that clip was a guy that he goes all right. We've just re-signed him for another couple of years. Jacob Little scored a try, couple of line break assist, ran for 130 metres. Seemed like he went all right in that game.
Yeah, I think he did. Hey, Hook, were you watching, buddy? Hook, were you watching? Because I think he should play. Don't waste 25 minutes. Just put him on at the 0 mark, okay? Right at the start, okay? When that whistle blows, you put Little on. Do you understand me? Okay?
I don't think he does. I don't think he understands anyone. I think you might need to speak a little slower.
Hopefully before the whistle goes this time.
Yeah. Dear Hook. Little. Okay, I'll give it smoke signal you.
Jesse, Tolly Angelidis asked the questions. Do you think the two Manly players will be playing first grade anytime soon?
The way under Hook, I don't think so. I think he'll still be clinging on to little hope that we have this season. He'll be trying to keep the bulk of this side together. My opinion, no. I'd love to see them give him an opportunity, and like you said a while ago too, round 11. It's round 11 now. We can start using players outside our top 30. I'd have a look at those players. Do you look at your Fafidas, your Tuivasa-Vākis, even try a player like Connor Wilhyson. Like, it's unlikely that a Moses Mbye will be at the club next year. You got to look towards the future. Tuivasa-Vāki's signed on for next year as well. So you look at those sort of players, see if they're ready for first grade, give them some experience, see what they're like playing against some of the best players in the NRL. Because that's the only way they're going to get there, if they're blooded, and give them some experience and we'll see if they're ready for the NRL. And they've got to be used right as well, not just for 10, 15 minutes. Give them some good stints out there and see how they handle to the next step up and playing in the NRL, because that's the only way they're going to get there, by playing games there.
Yeah, but
As-
I think in terms of Viliami Fafita, I don't know why he keeps getting named on the extended bench. His performances in reserve grade haven't been close to good enough. Guys like Zane Musgrove, we've seen Ryan Couchman, even Dan Russell, Nick Louis Toso, all these guys performing at a much higher level than Viliami Fafita. Viliami Fafita on the weekend, starting in the front row, ran for 43 metres. He has not cracked 100 metres in reserve grade, not once. So he is not, he is playing exactly the way that Moses Sully said that he would, but he doesn't want to be here. So Viliami Fafita for me is, while he's a big human, and I think he's got a lot of potential, the way he's performing in reserve grade, I don't think he should be anywhere near the first grade squad. Alec Tuatavake, on the other hand, come off the bench, second game back from a knee reconstruction, played about 35 minutes, ran for over 100 metres, made the most close contact meters of anybody in the team, made the most offloads of anyone in the team. He had a really good, strong, solid game. He's a guy that looks like he wants to be at the club. He's a guy that looks like he's putting in 110%. To me, he looks way closer to ready than Viliami Fafita. And on that highlights, one of the things you would notice if you watch it closely is that just before we scored tries, it was quick play the balls from Alec Tuatavake on 2 occasions for those tries. So I think he's a guy that's a lot closer than Viliami Fafita for mine. Hasman?
Yeah, so Tony, just want to throw something in there apropos of nothing. The definition of stupidity is changing something that clearly doesn't work. You know who said that? Anthony Griffin, probably.
Okay. I don't even know who I'm supposed to ask questions of, to be honest, but I'll go to you, Big T. You've been quiet for a little while. Bodie Richardson.
I'm never quiet.
Yeah, well, it was the first. That's why I thought I'd better ask you a question, because I thought you might be asleep. Bodie Richardson asked in the comments, and we have addressed this before, but I'll go to you and see what your thoughts. Do you think Ben Hunt leaves the Dragons next year if Hook gets sacked?
15 seconds ago, I just answered that very same question on the chat. I said, no, he won't leave, and he'll play 9 under a new coach.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I don't know about the playing 9 bit, but I don't think he's going to leave.
No.
And again, you go.
I said it earlier on when we said Zach Lomax signed. There was a couple of punters out there said 2026 he signed to.
Yeah, so it's another few years. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe another club would be willing to take over that contract. Again, I don't think Zach Lomax is going anywhere. Again,
No, neither was Ben Hunt.
I think as soon as the coach gets sacked, Zach Lomax will be straight back into first grade, whether that's in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time. Whenever the coach gets sacked, the next coach will bring Zach Lomax straight back into the team.
But he does have to work on his kicking.
Yeah, well, he's always working on it. And that's the other thing. Like people say, I hope he's been practicing his kicking. I've never seen a bloke work harder on his goal kicking.
Oh, no, that's right. Yeah, he does. He's out there. He's out there before and after training and kicking goals.
Yeah.
So I hope he's back soon.
So, for me, and I think I said it last week or maybe on Sunday's show with regards to Ben Hunt, he signed a 2-year extension with the Dragons with full knowledge that if the Dragons did not perform in 2023, that Hook was going to get sacked. So we're sitting in 16th. He has to know that that's not the Dragons performing and that Hook is very, very likely to get sacked. So he signed the 2-year extension knowing that if this happened, Hook was gone. So I think he knew this was coming, and I think he's come out and he's committed to the club. I don't think he's going anywhere. while he might come out and publicly support the coach, he's not leaving the Dragons. Like he's got that extra 2-year extension. He only signed it last year. I don't think I think he's staying, and it'll be up to the next coach in terms of how he blends this squad together to get the best out of it, whether he allows Hunt to play his preferred position, or if he looks at it and goes, well, the best position for our side is for you to play 9. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'll say he won't go anywhere, and he'll play 9 under a new coach.
All right. We might break things up once again, and we'll get into the last of our segments.
All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. London multi.
All right, Muzz's multi. And again, I apologise for having to start this segment off by apologising to the family of league for 0 input so far. But yeah, stick with us. We'll get there. So this week, the Bulldogs and Warriors game, I've gone anytime try scorer Rocco Berry for no other reason, but I think that's a pretty cool name. I've had no thought process into this at all. I'll be totally honest. A little bit of thought into the next one, Stephen Crichton. It's going to be a tough game with the Roosters, but I think Panthers will get over them. Crichton's always there and about for a try. Rabbitohs and Tigers. Well, if the Tigers have had 2 wins, so they'll probably come back to the field again, hopefully, and the Rabbitohs will score a few tries. And this one's just basically to put some value into the multi. Cameron Murray to be any time try scorer. And the Raiders and Eels game, I've taken the Raiders, giving away 3.5 start. So that'll be another tight game. Without Mitchell Moses, I think the Eels might struggle a little bit more. Raiders at home. Hopefully this week we will get some dollars for that good cause, the Family League. And don't forget, if you're having a bet responsibly. Bet with your head, not over it. You might win some, but you lose more.
Yeah, well, you probably do lose more if you're following Muzz's multi. But you got the first 2 legs last week, mate, and you got the first 2 legs, and I thought, oh, he's on here, we're on, we're going to get one, but then you fell in a heap with the last couple. So
we'll get there. We will get there.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, my own personal multi tips are going just as bad.
Yeah, I find I have a lot more luck with my AFL multis than I do with NRL multis. I think the NRL ones are always a toss of a coin. It's I don't know. I think the NRL ones are a lot harder to get across the line. All right, we might head into predictions for the game on the weekend and call it a night. We've got you on the line already, Muzzer. We might start with you. What are your predictions for the game up in Townsville?
Oh shit! Haven't even thought about that. I've backed against the Dragons once in my life, and I'm probably gonna have to do it this week. But I won't. We'll bounce back. We'll win this game by 4 points. I was about to say Zach Lomax anytime try scorer. Then that's how good my multi's going. Throw him in. Yeah, I could. Sloan will bounce back with a try, and yeah, we might only get 1 try, but we'll still win by 4. How's that work?
4-0.
How does that work? I don't know. 4-0.
4-0. It's the 1992 prelim all over again.
Well, the women's game the other week was 1-0 or something, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, that was
grand final.
Grand final, 1-0.
Wow,
4-0. So you're already predicting that we're going to miss the goal. So yeah, 4-0.
Big T, what's your prediction, mate?
Oh, I'd love to say the Dragons, but up at was it for Dairy Smile something stadium up there? Yeah, I think I'll be Cowboys by a few. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. So sorry. I'm going to go Moses Scully first try and will only score one.
Yep. All right. Hasman.
All right, let's get a little bit positive here. So I'm going to say, was I going to go first? I was going to go Ravalawa to score first. I think Bud Sullivan's an absolute certainty to get over at some point. And I reckon this is the week we turn it around. I reckon Jack Bird will get a kick and Dragons by 2.
Dragons by 2. All right. Jesse, you feeling confident? Well, are you?
No, I'm not.
Punk?
No, I'm not. Oh, I definitely not. Last few weeks we've played teams that back into form. I think this continues. I think the Cowboys, our poor record up there will continue. I think the Cowboys will be too strong. They'll win by 14 points, I think. I'll back Bud for a try again. And I think the anytime try score. Anytime try score, I'll go for Bud. I'm going to go first try score. I'm going to go Murray Talangi.
There we go. All right. Last but not least, Chloe.
So I'm still awake, everyone. Haven't fallen asleep. I'm going to be positive. I'm hoping the Dragons by, I'll say 6. I'll go Bud Sullivan anytime, and I'll say Sloan for first try scorer.
All right. Well, I think that the last time I was this downtrodden and this certain that it was all going to go badly, the Dragons came out and absolutely trounced the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I'm expecting the same thing to happen again. The Dragons to come out, absolutely thump the Cowboys and win 32 points to 6. I think Billy Burns gets across the line for a try. And I think that the first try scorer will be Matt Feeney. So I think the Dragons win and win comfortably because nobody thinks we will. That's pretty much the only reason. I don't know why, but I just think that when everybody's feeling this down, the Dragons will pull one out of the bag and we'll wonder why we don't do it every week, and then we'll go back to getting flogged again next week. Anyway, it's been a great show. It's been a real freestyle kind of show. I had no agenda at all. I flew in straight from work and jumped on the old Zoom machine and started just talking. But there's a lot of questions in the chat, and it's been it's been a lot of fun. I've actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to because of all the interaction from all the people watching online. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on Sunday after the Dragons win. Come on, Dragons fans, fire up!
Fire up!
Dragons for life.
Fire up.